Welcome. Come on into our Zoom room. It's lovely to see you all. I'm Karen. I'm the community manager for Wise Women Rising, and I'm just thrilled to have this sense of sacred circle, really, of bringing our lovely energies together in this virtual space. So this is a little bit of a sweep back over the last 12 months or a bit longer, back to our journey story. And it's just to really set the ground for the stories that are about to come from the different women, because this has been an idea that was budded back in 2018. And those smiling faces there, this is Annie and Shez and myself looking bedraggled after the beach. All three of us have this longing to contribute in the world in new ways, in ways that are really from the heart, ways that are outside what's being conventionally done. And so there was a synergy in the conversation that day, and a spark was definitely lit in me about how do we do that? How do we have a time trading? How do we have a community of women like us who might, mutually want to support each other and trade time? So that's where it started. By December in 2019, Irene and Kat and Helen had joined in, and we'd had a lovely retreat down to Kat's place. This is Kat here, and down here, this is taken in Turundara, where Kat lives in towards Portland in Victoria. And we just had a really precious time, a long weekend. There was some exchange that I think Irene did some massage and we went for walks, and Kat gave us some Qigong experience of just having restful time to write and connect in as a group. And Annie here at the background has had a studio in Collingwood, and we were able to meet there and play there. So that's us having a play at the studio in Collingwood. And we did dancing and storytelling and talking about what would be a vision for Wise Women, getting together, doing new things, ceremonies and circles, and looking after each other in new ways, having accountability buddies. And so this is all life before the retreat in 2020. So this is sort of early days. And I did want to mention, this is Shez and I. We tried podcasting together. So we held each other's hand and went into a podcasting studio, and we had Kate Lawrence and Carolyn Tate, some friends, come in, and we did a podcast in a studio about compassionate communication and compassionate activism. It was just fun. We'd never done anything like it before, and it was just a wonderful experience. It was another of the ways that we've, of mutual support that we've stepped into. Then there was 2020, and gosh, that changed all of our lives, really, didn't it? And the retreat came alive out of a welcome circle that was offered for some women who'd shown some interest in what we were doing. And I said, well, we haven't tried inviting anyone in yet, but you're more than welcome to come in, and maybe we could have a bit of a gathering online, and we could start to practice, whatever you want to bring. We could do some workshops of like practice things we want to share. And it just blossomed into this incredible experience, because people invited people. We had a distance healing session, we had tea and poetry, we had a session on women's power and authority, we had a death cafe, which you may or may not have heard of, but we just had these incredible, wonderful, nurturing, totally heart-opening and vulnerable, powerful experiences together. And it was wonderful. So after the retreat, there was quite a bit of energy around, well, what do we do now? And essentially we were exploring, well, how do we do trading? Natalie ran a clay play workshop, making little people online. We were telling stories and had clay messy hands and had a wonderful time. We also had some one-on-one trading. So I traded with Barbara a session in the work of Byron Katie, and I just loved it. And there's been quite a lot of empathy trading, holding each other through different processes, just exploring like what was possible. So that trading is what we've been doing that. And we've also been having some events, and I'm remembering particularly Barbara's fizzy yoga, Feel the Fizz, and how a room, I think you had like 20 participants in your yoga, and we just had heaps of fun. We had a ceremony for spring. We had an open space weekend that we arrived in the morning and we started to talk about what was alive for us to bring and share. And then this incredible experience just opened up. And by the end of the weekend, we were dancing, we were mourning with some sort of what had come up as blocks to really living in our full sense of purpose. It emerged out of just trusting that we could work out how to be together over the weekend. It was wonderful. So we've had quite a few community events as well as the online trading in it. So these are the questions for our Wise Women Rising.
So I joined during the retreat, and I didn't really know what I was joining in on when I joined at the retreat, and I came and it was just like, oh wow, there was just so many interesting workshops being offered, and I quickly started to realize that everyone was presenting, or almost everyone was presenting their work for the first time, and it was this amazing space where people were just naming how worried they were about whatever, and the whole group would just hold them and it would go on, and I was absolutely thrilled by the depth of connection that I was able to make during the retreat and then ongoing. I would never have guessed that on Zoom you could get such quality relationships. And I had the opportunity to also be in the open space weekend, which was this magical thing where we allowed it to, we all came with ideas, then we kind of pitched them, and then we did them, and they just morphed, and people said, I'd like to do this, this, and this, and then it was similar, so they did it together. And it was just the most amazing space, and that was a fabulous weekend. And what I'm dreaming of this year is to learn to be a flow game host and to host the flow game with women in this group, because that's a game that I found as part of that very first workshop and have come to really value playing over the months since. So that's me.
Would you be willing to give us like a couple of sentences about the flow game? I think it's really precious because it was a session we ran at the retreat, and there were 3 flow game hosts at the retreat who all came together and did it as one group. I think there were like 20 something participants in that. It was really popular. Do you want to tell our guests a little bit more about what it is?
A little, yes. So basically you come with a question that you're interested in. So something like, for me, my question was, what's next? I'm kind of wondering what's next. And then with your group that you're playing with, you are rolling a dice and then pulling cards from a deck, depending on what the color of the dice. And so when you get your card, it might be a picture or it might be a phrase, and you speak to it based on your question. And then you pass the card to the woman on, say your left, and she gives her opinion about what that card meant to her based on your question. So you've got this fabulous wisdom circle of points of view about your question and what people are taking from this card as it comes around. And the interesting depth of wisdom in a round like that is just magic. And then you decide how far you're going to move your boat down the stream based on what you feel like has happened for you during that question. And then the next person goes and you're part of their wisdom circle. So, yeah.
Karen and I have known each other for many years, and she has wanted me to do things online, training online, and I was unwilling. I didn't have the confidence to just, teach online and advertise and all of that. Plus, I was going through a lot of transition in my own life. I was caring for my elderly mother, my older brother who was very unwell, and I've had several surgeries myself. So I'm just in this kind of, life upheaval. Oh, the end of a marriage, just little things, and whereas in this space with everybody else, like the retreat where there's other people doing it too, there was a real sense of we're in this together, we're having a crack, we're experimenting. And so in that space of I was willing to give it a crack. And the other thing was, afterwards we had a little debrief. So when you finished your session, everybody else left Zoom, but Karen and myself or someone else stayed on with me as the presenter, and I got to kind of go, yay, I like this bit, or I didn't like that bit. And so there was a real sense of learning from what happened. And I got to interview someone at the end of their session. I got to support somebody else in their session. I want to say it was like a smorgasbord feast thing where I got to offer 3 sessions and then participate in other people's. And it was in July, it was in the middle of COVID, and there wasn't a lot else happening. So it was this beautiful experience.
Happy not to tell. Oh, briefly, just wanted to say my experience of Wise Woman Rising has been a lot of magic and play and nourishment. All good entering listening. Thanks, Heidi. Yeah, I love having my friends here. I'm so grateful tonight to have offered the opportunity to a few friends, and they show up. And so I'm a little bit nervous, but yes, and I am and I am not. I was listening to your stories and remembering my experience when I first arrived. That was at a Monday meeting, I think, and we did breaking in groups straight away. And that was my first things, like the lottery in the middle, and poof, this is who you're talking to, and loved it. The immediate sense of kinship with the person that I had in front on the screen, and level of listening, presence was wonderful. Very quickly I found some common interests. I've realized the Wise Women Rising are very much into ceremony and death and dying well, and a lot of things like that. And the cherry on the cake for me in this year was that the song that you had chosen for the retreat, The Way Knows the Way, had been my favorite song that I sang from the beginning of last year. Every circle I attended to, I mean, you can ask a couple of my friends here, I would just say, okay, I need to sing the song. And it was such a serendipitous moment, that it was where we kept on going back, The Way Knows the Way, in all our experiments. Love this feeling of this deepening into the spirit of learning and giving permission to be in the learning and experimenting together and witnessing what we can do together. There was I remember one session where Annie had problem with something and it got worked out in a minute, and she was doing somatic SC session on Zoom. I didn't think that was possible. We were all in our bed and moving, and we all zoned out. It was fantastic. Craniosacral on Zoom. Who knew we could do that on Zoom? You know, like it's so good to have this bunch of juicy MAGA experimenting this new technology. I'm in awe, and I feel very grateful. That's the word, that I was able to experiment with offering art workshop. I know it's very well on offer on Zoom, but to be able to have a go and see our own version of it, like how it can be done and working it out, and feeling the deep nourishment and the joy being so palpable between all of us. That was great. So learning everything. Learning, I keep on learning. It's possible. I feel so safe, Kat. I agree. Like the level of safety and friendliness and the level of education, I learned so much. Like, yes, go NVC, or go NVC. Yeah, yes, the awareness is rising as well. I'm so looking forward to have a go at this flow game. I was not able to participate, so I'm kind of swimming in anticipation kind of vibe, you know, like my turn one day. Yay. Lots of sacredness, lots of honoring of everyone. I really value the values, which I'm gonna learn them, Kat. I think I don't know them by heart. And I missed this little comment in the chat. That's okay. Nonviolent aka compassionate communication. Yes, compassionate communication. Okay, I prefer that too. That's it, I think.
Yeah, I just want to show you my little fox that I made when Natalie shared the clay with us, and I'm still very much, I don't know, it's quite blurred to me, but it's curled up into itself, and I'm still there. And with Wise Woman Rising, I feel it's been a really safe healing space for me. I've cried a lot, and yeah, I think the word healing and safety has been the big things. But yeah, I just think this is an amazing symbol that came out of Natalie's holding space, and it's very precious to me. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
And I was intrigued and had a chat with Karen, and I was saying that I was running poetry sessions with my friends, but it wasn't running poetry sessions, it was more having catch-ups, and we would share poetry because I love poetry, and because of COVID we couldn't meet up, so I started this thing online, and everyone is loving it, and I mean I was loving it, and I was connecting with my friend. And at one time I had my friend from Thailand, my other friend from the UK, friends from Australia, and it just grew out of a passion for poetry. And Karen suggested running a poetry session during the retreat, and to be honest, I was like shocked that, you know, I was like, no. First thing that came into my head is I'm not an expert. I couldn't do that. Like, this is something I'm doing for, like, as a passion. It's for fun. I couldn't lead that. And you know, she really helped me stop and think, you know, ask the questions why, and kind of pull out that inner critic. And it also reminded me that we don't all have to be experts in order for us to come out and show up in the world and share with others, especially if we have common interests and passions. So I went and I ran a poetry session, the tea and poetry share, and what came to mind to me was this poetry train that went along between everybody in the group, and we had so many different topics of discussion, and it wasn't just the poetry that was shared, which you could write yourself or bring a piece written by somebody else. It was the aftermath of sharing the poetry. It was the conversation in between that connected everybody that was, for me, the most beautiful and unknown part of the whole experience. And I guess it was the holding space for each other when we didn't have all the answers, and the motto, the way knows the way, still, that which we had for the retreat, still rings true in my mind ever since.
I've just enjoyed the breadth of experiences that the group offers, and it comes down to the quality of the people and the quality of the holding. I just love the time and space and care that this group offers.
Thank you so much. I value hearing your voice too, really matters to me. And thank you for coming tonight too. I just have this appreciation in my body right now of, like, thank you to the women who've shared your experiences. Yeah, there's a real joy as I connect with how you've experienced community. It resonates a lot of what's also true for me. What I might do, Shez, if you're willing, if I do the screen share and have you speak briefly about the generosity circle.
And the time trading is, Karen mentioned earlier, LETS, which is LETS, which stands for Local Energy Trading Scheme. So it's a kind of new economy where we're not trading in money, we're trading in time. And Samantha came from a very big organisation in Cape Town in South Africa, and I belong to one in my local area. And we do, people offer all sorts of things. And so the Generosity Circle was about exploring what you would like to offer, what kinds of things would you like to offer in terms of time trading, which is usually in 1 hour lots. And for instance, I had a session with Samantha about my eating and food, and she used to manage an Ayurvedic healing centre in Cape Town, and so she has all this knowledge about food and the organs that I didn't have. So it was really helpful to have this hour with her, and so the circle is a guided or a structured process for exploring what you might like to offer, what kind of services or support you would like, and then kind of seeing how that matches up with other people in the group. So yeah, people who experienced it really, really found it very nourishing and fabulous. I wish I had a better word than that, but yeah. Samantha, did you want to add anything to that?
I just think you did so well, Shez, to sum it up in a short time, and fabulous is a wonderful word. Yeah, no, I love the way you summed that up.
I guess what I'll add is that people wanted something that somebody else was offering, or they weren't offering it, but it came up somehow. Like there was this kind of weaving thing that happened. I was kind of resisting. There's a part of me that says, do not say the magical word again. However, that is what's there. So that's what I'll say about that. So we would like you to come, we'll invite you to come along and experience it, and play in the field of the magic. In
the field of abundance, because we have so many gifts and talents to share.
Yes, thank you, Samantha. Your feedback.
Yeah, what would you have liked more of, or wanted more of? What would you have liked maybe less of, or what would you imagine we could do differently next time? So what I'd love to do is just acknowledge there was a request for more clarity around what actually we do or what we'd be signing up for. I want to share that I'll email some more details about that so that you have something to anchor to, as well as the Generosity Circle link. The invitation is to just continue to come and play with us. Like that now you've had a bit of a sense of curiosity and like maybe what we do in a broad stroke way in terms of supporting each other with precious work that feels bubbling up in us, to come along to some things. The Generosity Circle is the next thing we're running in March, and we'll also let you know if there's any pilot offerings between now and then, and that you can jump into and support other women who might be offering. And you know, if you would like to discuss any of offerings that are alive in you, please email me. And then at the Generosity Circle at that time in March, we'll also talk about options for membership that'll be opening in April. So just please come and join us in the meantime, and we'll share some more details of membership and what you can do. And you know, it's really the membership fee is something like $16.50 a month. It's we aim to just simply cover our costs of operating as a community of mutual support. So yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that there's still questions we haven't answered.